Hello my friends, today we're learning Bastro Daf Kuf Samech Aleph. We're going to start about 4 or 5 lines down. 3 lines down. So we're going to read the Gemara and explain afterwards outside. ולרב ירמיה בר אבא דאמר אחורי הכתב וכנגד הכתב מבחוץ לכו שדילמה כתיב מגבאי מאי דבאי ומחתים סעדי יתרה מעברי ואמר ענה לרבות בעדים ודאבדי. אמר לי, מי סברת ידים כסדרם חתימי, ידים ממטה למעלה חתימי. ולכו שדילמה מתרמרה רעותה בשיטה האחרונה, וגייז לי, לשיטה האחרונה, וגייז לי לראובן בעדי ומתקשר בבן יעקב, עד, דתנן בן איש פלוני עד כשר, תכתיב ראובן בן בחד דרה ויעקב עד לובי. ולכו שדילמה גייז לי לראובן בן ומתקשר ביעקב עד, דתנן איש פלוני עד כשר, דלא כתיב עד. ובאותם על עולם כתב עדה. דינן בי דעה חתימת ידה לאו דיעקב הוא. ודילמה בשמי דאבו חתים. לא שביק איני שמי דידי וחתים בשמי דאבו. ודילמה סימנה בעלמה הוא דשביה דרב ציר קבר רב חנינא ציר חרוטה רב חיסדא סמך רב אושי עין. רב ברבונה מקוטה. וחציף איני לשביה לשמי דאבו סימנה. מזוטר אמר למה לך כולהי, כל מקושר שאין ידיו קלים בשיטה אחת, פסול. So after we read the Gemara, it's a very short daf in words, but it's a bit complicated to understand. I'll try explaining my best with visual, and I'm going to try drawing and to explain this daf. So I'm going to move the camera towards the Gemara so I could show you. So like this. So we have over here a shtar. This is the back of the shtar, and from here till here is where the written part is in the front side of the shtar. That means on the other side of the shtar, it's written over here, and this is just empty parchment. So the Gemara at the beginning understands the lefir of Yirmiyah bar Abba, the way in a get mekusha the edim right on the back. The first 8 writes over here, Reuven ben Yaakov, 8, and the second one, Moshe ben Amram, and then the other Edim up here. So that means they start from the last line of the shtar and of the back, and they go upwards. So on that the Gemara asks, L'chora, we should be choishish. Maybe the Malve will add on the front of the shtar and this part, and the empty parchment is going to add on some extra writing, and then after he adds extra writing, and the front over here is going to add on some fake edim over here and over here all the way down, and then when it comes to Bezdin, he's going to say, you know why there's so many edim over here? The reason is because I wanted to make it very powerful shtar. But the ones who you're going to make, which edim are we going to check? He's going to check these 3 edim over here. The 3 that are really kosher, that really signed on the shtar, they'll come and say, yeah, it's us, so we'll bring edim that this is their writing, and therefore it's a good shtar. We could testify that this is the writing of these people, and these people, we don't need to make all the edim, and therefore the Malva will forge this extra part they added on the front side of the shtar. There'll be mekuyim as well, and he's going to take from the loiva something that doesn't believe. Let's say he's going to add in this part, and I gave the loiva a loan of another 10,000 pounds, and then the loiva is going to lose out. So the Gemara answers on that. The Gemara says you can't do that. The Gemara answers that it's talking about that the edim write mimato lemalo, meaning, let's get over here new shtar. This is the top part that's written. We at the back of the shtar, but on the other side over here it's written, and this is the empty parchment. So says the Gemara, you write it over here like this. Reuven ben Yaakov 8. And here you continue writing the other ones. The next 8. You do it a bit shorter and you continue writing the other 8. So the Gemara says, since you write it this way, the guy can't add this part of the shtar on the other side and write wherever he wants, because to manage to fit in an aid over here, the Rabbeinu Gershon explains, exactly on the same space that he added on the other side, it will be very difficult for him, and therefore will chapid that it's forged, and he won't be able to do that. So Gemara says, okay, very good, we can understand that you can't add anything, but we're choishish for something else. What we choishish? Then maybe the last few lines in the star on the front says something, let's say, that's a benefit for the loiva. Let's say it said that the loiva paid back some of the loan. So what will the malva do? The malva will cut this part off. He'll cut this part off. That means where it says that the loiva, this part that it says that the loiva paid back, he'll cut that off, and he'll have it like this. It says over here, Ben Yaakov Eid, and then it will say the other Eidim. And then he's going to make the loiva lose the end part of the star that says something that's beneficial for him. And we know, it says in the Mishnah, if it says on a star, Ben Ish Ploini Eid, even if it doesn't say his name, like this, Ben Yaakov Eid, it's good enough? Says the Gemara solution, no, I'll tell you what we do. Says the Gemara that what you write over here is the follows. On the same line, on the back, this is the back again of the star, you write Reuven Ben. On the same line, meaning this line of the star on the front, that this is the line where it's written. You write Reuven Ben, and then Yaakov Eid. So on the last line, you're going to write Reuven together with Ben. So if you cut this part off, you don't have Bechlal Ben. It doesn't say Ben Yaakov Eid, it just says Yaakov Eid. On that, the Gemara asks, what does that help? Even if it says only Yaakov Eid, that's a problem. Because it says in the Mishnah, Ish Ploini Eid Kosher. On that, the Gemara says two terutzim. The first teretz is that you don't write Eid. You only write this part, Reuven. Let me just try to get it to the camera. Reuven Ben Yaakov, without the part Eid. And therefore, if it's going to delete Reuven Ben, it will only say Yaakov. And therefore, to be a kosher, it needs to be not only a name, it needs to say Reuven Ben Yaakov, not only Yaakov's name. That's how the Rabbeinu Gershon explains. And then the Gemara says another teretz, really you could write Yaakov Eid. Not only Yaakov, you could write Eid. But I'll tell you why we're not choishish, because if it says Yaakov Eid, who signed this star was Reuven. So who's going to be made that this was Yaakov's spelling? No one could write that this is Yaakov's handwriting, because this is not Yaakov's handwriting, it's Reuven's handwriting, so no one will be made that this is Yaakov's handwriting. And therefore, we'll know it's possible. Continues the Gemara on Amud Beis. Says the Gemara, maybe we should be choishish that if we have Yaakov Eid, we'll say, oh, it's Reuven's handwriting, and the reason why he wrote Yaakov is because he's giving cover to his father, and instead of using his own word, he's using his father's name. On that, the Gemara says, no, a person doesn't leave his father's name, doesn't leave his own name and uses his father's name. It's not something that people do. On that, the Gemara asks, okay, very good, a person doesn't use his father's name as his own name, but maybe uses it as a siman. Like Rav, when he would sign on a star, he wouldn't write Rav, he would draw a picture of a fish, and everyone knew that fish is Rav's fish, and if there's a signature of a fish, it means Rav signed on it. And Reb Chanina would draw a piece of the palm tree, and everyone would recognize it by that. Rav Chisda would just write a samech because his name was over samech, and everyone knew samech is Rav Chisda, and they could recognize his samech. And Rav Oishia wrote a ayin because his name has a ayin in it, and people would recognize it. Rava, the son of Rav Huna, would do a mekusa, he would draw a part of the boat, and people would recognize by him. By the boat, everyone knew that that's Rava, the son of Rav Huna's signature. It's not signature, it's like a icon. It's like you have big brands. It's like a branding of his name. So maybe he's writing Yaakov as his brand. And that the Gemara says, no, a person's not chutzpaniac to use his father's name as his branding. So therefore, it's very good to recognize that it's Reuven's spelling, but there's nothing, no one's going to use his father's name as his brand name. And therefore, there's nothing to be choishesh that the Malva will cut up the star. He can't cut up the star. Comes Mazutra, and he says, why do you have to come to this whole complication? I'll tell you what. I'll tell you how the Eidim have to write at the back of the star. Let me show you. You write Reuven from the end of the writing, right? This is the extra empty parchment, and this is the end of the writing. You write over here, Reuven ben Yaakov 8. And then the second one writes, God ben Moshe 8. And the third one writes, Amram ben Elchanan 8. So you have no issues. So it starts all the way from the end, all the way to the beginning. And therefore you have no issues. To add on, you can't add on over here on the front of the star because the Eidim are starting over here. To cut off, you can't, because if you cut off, each one's a bit of a different length. So if you cut off to the end of a Reuven, it's not going to fit. You're going to see that it's missing. And therefore, we have no problem of forging such a star. There's no way how you could forge it. And that's how Mar Zutra solved this issue. Thank you very much. We should all be blessed. It's Rosh Chodesh today. We should be zoicha to have a Chodesh of light, of happiness, of learning, of mitzvahs, of connection to Hashem, of talking to Hashem. And Yeshua Kroi Velovoi. Thank you very much. Good Chodesh.